Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Taryn the Traveling Trainer with GoTarryn Personal Training here in the Greater Atlanta area, about to welcome for the very first time a new guest to today's show, Ms. Hannah O'Leary, stretch therapist here in Atlanta. Before we welcome Hannah on today's video blog, I'd like to ask everyone out there if you'd please be so kind as to subscribe to my YouTube channel, link at the bottom of that screen, and also if you wouldn't mind liking the video, leaving us a comment, and sharing it with all of your friends and family out there. Now today we're going to talk some stretch therapy, something that's a new concept to yours truly, and I'm going to be asking Hannah O'Leary, stretch therapist, what is stretch therapy, what is the Stretch to Win Institute, and let's talk about the benefits and figure out who needs it and what is its role here specifically in Atlanta as it's growing and just getting bigger. So we're going to talk about that and a lot more, as Hannah O'Leary also is going to be coming out to Georgia State University to guest lecture very soon as well. So it's a very good episode coming up here just momentarily, so stay tuned. And remember, with GoTarryn Personal Training, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. We'll be right back with Hannah O'Leary. All right, welcome back, everyone. And as you can see side by side for the very first time, also here in Atlanta, Georgia, joining us, we have Hannah O'Leary. She's a stretch therapist. Hannah, how are you doing out there today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Very good, thanks. Thanks so much for being able to come on here, and it's great to meet you for the very first time. I know that you and I were introduced and linked through by Stacy, our mutual friend, also stretch therapist. So I'm excited to meet both y'all, and I guess that's something we'll talk about here on today's video blog, some opportunities to work together. So, but first and foremost, Hannah, I guess I just wanted to, again, welcome you and just start by asking, maybe telling us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up here in the Atlanta, Georgia area, please.
Right. So I was born and raised here in the East Metro area, and went to school at Georgia State myself. I graduated with my exercise science degree, and I'm currently a stay-at-home mom, and as well I do stretch therapy and take on clients when I can. But I have my two young boys that are my full-time job as well, and happily married to my husband for 10 years. His name is James. And so that's that's my life, and that's where I've lived, and I've been in Atlanta for my whole life. And I got into stretch therapy through Stacy McGahee. She was just a customer at my husband's auto repair shop in Midtown, and she just got to talking to him about what she does, and he said my wife might be interested in that because I wanted to do physical therapy. So and that kind of got put on hold because I became a mom, and you know how that goes. So that's how it all got started. Yeah. That's
a great story. How old are the boys, Hannah?
My oldest is going to be 7 in about 2 weeks on the 1st, and my youngest is 3.
Oh, nice. That's great.
Two boys.
I bet they're a lot of fun. They keep you pretty busy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's terrific. And yeah, I remember seeing on your social media too that you're a Georgia State alum with exercise science. That's great. Did you by any chance know someone by the name of Laura Abbott? Was she there when you were there?
She was, absolutely.
Okay. The reason I asked, she's my boss over at Georgia State, and so I teach and I report to her. So she's great. Yeah, she's really terrific.
Love
so.
her.
Yeah, she's really nice. I've now worked there for a couple of years, and I have nothing but great things to say about them. That's a great school for that degree. That field, that kinesiology health department is wonderful. They're awesome.
I agree, absolutely. Loved the program, yeah.
When did you graduate there, Hannah?
So I graduated December of 2010, so it's going on almost 8 years ago.
That's terrific. Yeah, that's great. Again, have you been back to that campus or the school at all to see what they've done lately?
I haven't, but I've heard great things, yeah.
Well, I can't wait to have you and Stacy come out and guest speak. You're going to be really taken aback. I mean, they have done so much in terms of gobbling up buildings and kind of expanding, and you know, in that field, that athletic department, the sports arena is really getting big too. They're growing that as well. So we're very excited to see that kind of growth there.
Yeah,
so,
looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, but that's a great story. Being able to kind of circle around, come full circle, meeting Stacy, and then that gave you the ability to get back into this kind of field. And so let me ask you, with having the boys, with having a family, and obviously you'd said, you took a little bit of time trying to figure out what to do and working from home, but did it feel like in terms of getting back into exercise science, did you feel like you still had that urge and that passion and that desire to stay in that? Is that why that kind of happened the way it did?
Absolutely. From the time I graduated to, to now, I've always wanted and had the hopes of going back to school, whether it was for physical therapy, for training, maybe even for PTA. And those are still options that I hope to one day get to go back to school and do. But as a stay-at-home mom and with young kids who, I'm just at the cusp here of getting that younger one in school next year, so I can focus more on my school and education and career full time. I knew that was going to be what I got back into, and so the passion has still been there, and it's not only was I prepared from my education at Georgia State, but it was so easy to get back into it and refresh my education, and just having that functional anatomy background. You need to do stretch therapy. They don't require that you're licensed or anything. It's a week-long workshop for that first level 1 certification. And I was absolutely prepared to go into that and have every intention of continuing in this field and my education and so forth. So yeah.
That's awesome, Hannah, because I'll be honest with you, very candidly, this whole field of stretch therapy is kind of relatively new to me in terms of I haven't had much exposure to it. So when I first talked with Stacy briefly, I again was learning much of for the first time what she was kind of telling me. But I guess for me, for the benefit of everyone out there watching, can you define what is stretch therapy if nobody's heard about it and if it's kind of relatively new to them as well? Like how would you define stretch therapy to the novice like me?
Sure. So in a therapeutic setting, it's essentially assisted stretching. It can be incorporated into, if you're a personal trainer, you can incorporate that in with your clients, obviously. You can incorporate it with a therapeutic regimen with physical therapy, chiropractic care, things like that. I have a friend that's a nurse. She's got her BSN, and she just went and got certified. So she can incorporate that even into her nursing field. But it's just, sorry, I've got some things going on over here.
No worries. Oh, you're fine.
Lots of people in the house. But yeah, so it's just can be used across many different settings. Yeah. And it's an assisted therapy, and it's table-based. So there is a technique to it, and the full name to it is called fascial stretch therapy. So we are targeting the fascial system, the structure, the tissue that gives our body structure. So that's essentially what it incorporates. So we're not just targeting muscles or muscle groups. It's a whole approach, a global approach to the body. So that's essentially the layman's terms. You just lay down and relax, and the therapist moves you without any effort on the client's part. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so the key concept then, it'll focus on increasing range of motion and flexibility for that client?
Yes, and decreasing pain. A lot of people complain of like pinched nerves, so it decompresses nerves. It helps with better circulation, and certainly with injury prevention and prehab, and if you're dealing with injuries, it can help with your rehab regimen as well, things like that.
That's wonderful. How long does a typical session last, or are there different options for times and duration of
Lots of different options, but the most popular is the typical 60-minute, kind of like you with a massage. But I've had clients do 90 minutes and up to 2 hours as well. So, and that can even incorporate maybe some self-stretch education. So we could do like an hour on the table, and then for a half hour, let's really build you a program to where you can go home and really target your fascial system on your own. So there are specific techniques, other than just your typical stretches that you would learn, with a personal trainer or from a book or from Pinterest or the internet. These stretches have been developed specifically to benefit our fascial system and the whole body approach to stretching in order to get the most benefit out of, whether you're an athlete, whether you're just in pain every day. So it encompasses move better and live better for sure.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. I like this concept because I was just speaking with a colleague the other day, and she was telling me that she's also here in Atlanta and she's in personal training, and she also said that this whole stretch therapy is very new to her. She had not really heard of it, but now I think she had told me that there were actual studios that were popping up here in Atlanta that have stretch therapy as a service. So are you seeing that as well? You and Stacy noticing that it's kind of picking up and growing right now in this area?
Absolutely. So I would say there is a massive stretch boom right now. And I think a lot of that, whether we know or not, I think a lot of it has to do with the creators of fascial stretch therapy, because they've had their foot in the door of professional sports. Okay. And I think that's being seen all around, and it's just kind of like, oh, that's amazing. We want to incorporate that into our practice or our clinic or our training, and so these little stretch clinics are popping up. I know there's one in Atlanta pretty popular now that's popping up, getting several different locations. And then there's I think, I don't remember the name of it, but there's another lady she's a physical therapist, went to the Stretch to Win Institute. She's, I think, a level 2 or a level 3 certification, and she has her own stretch therapy, but it's not necessarily franchised and popping up everywhere, but she does have her own as well. But yeah, I think it's all of a sudden booming. I think that there's been this great stretch debate over the years, and is it helpful, is it not? Now we're finding with this specific method and technique of fascial stretch therapy that it's incredibly beneficial to all people in all walks of life. So I think everybody's trying to get their hands on it because there's a market for it, and there's a great need in any kind of body that you have for this therapy, for sure.
Yeah, I could tell you, Hannah, from my personal experience, I think I could definitely benefit from it because I mentioned this to Stacy briefly, that I had some lower back issues personally, like my L4 and L5, very common for a lot of guys, obviously bulging discs, and in my case, the doctors told me they're protruding discs. I guess that's interchangeably used with herniated discs, but I have a lot of common problems with lower back pain, and so my problem, personally, I don't get enough stretching, and as a personal trainer, I try to, lead by example, and I try to tell my clients, hey, make sure you get your stretching in because it's very important. But I think you're right. I agree with the fact that stretch therapy is something that can be done for everyone, pretty much. I think everyone can benefit from it. But I'm just thinking of my own personal life and my own clients that we could. And also, in addition to that, I told Stacy when we talked on the phone that I have a club in Buckhead that I work out of predominantly. A lot of my clients that I train, and it's a really big fitness center in the heart of Buckhead. And I'm just thinking of them that they could really get a lot of great use, and hopefully we can probably build something there. And so I think you and Stacy definitely, if you're interested with hitting up Buckhead, that would probably be a prime location to look at and maybe get into, because I think that if you guys are able to land a spot there, you would have a pretty much exclusive usage of the stretch therapy services at that gym. So we'll definitely have to talk about that. That's the, just so you know, Stacy, that's Second Ponce Family Life Center. Are you familiar with Buckhead at all?
Not incredibly familiar.
That's okay, yeah. Just to give you an idea, it's probably about 2 miles south of Lenox Mall, if you know where Lenox Square is. Okay. On Peachtree, just about 2 miles south of that, near West Paces Ferry Road, around that area, not too far. But I think that's definitely something we'll have to talk about. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be honest, again, looking at all the other gyms, because I'm in a lot of fitness centers, a lot of clubs. A lot of my clubs I go to are like either commercial or community gyms. I have not up to 20 years now of doing this, and mostly in Atlanta, I haven't come across this concept. So that's why I'm really intrigued. I think that this is a goldmine opportunity right now that, like you just said, is literally booming. So yeah. I'm glad for you and Stacy that y'all are right there on the beginning of that wave, because it looks like you can only get bigger here and just continue to grow. That's awesome. Right. Yeah, like for you and Stacy, in terms of building this brand and working together, how is the long-term picture and the goals of this now, would you say, in the next couple of years with how you guys are doing, working together?
So we're really just getting started now with, she's been doing this 10 years, by the way. So
Yeah, that's
she's
right.
one of
Yeah.
those forerunners with this, not only the Stretch to Win Institute, but has
Hmm.
been there since kind of the beginning with that. But she's had a decade to really establish herself in Atlanta. So she
Yeah.
has many long-term clients. And of course, they send referrals, and she's got so many now that she's almost overloaded. So she's kind of asked me to come on and help her with those clients that maybe she can't get to. So that's kind of the ball we've gotten rolling right now, is just that I'm going to come out and kind of help her. Obviously, I'm open to any opportunities that you could help with as well. And so that's kind of, we're just at the beginning stages of collaborating and working together. But I adore her and love working with her and working on each other. That's been really the benefit, is we get to stretch each other and help each other feel better.
Hmm.
But I see this going on, this just building our individual businesses, but definitely through the years to come, look forward to working with her and building clientele and really hopefully getting the word out about this in the Atlanta area for sure. And it's that bond, that relationship that we have, especially, just we love each other, and then just the business part of it, that I fully expect to be right there beside each other the whole way for years to come. So not clear on the exact goals so far,
Sure.
we're just getting the ball rolling now, but we're having a blast. I love what I do and love that she got to introduce it to me. So
Oh, I
yeah.
mean, absolutely. Clearly, you're very passionate and you have a good vision of it, what you want. And just brainstorming from talking with you, because again, we're in very similar fields. The fact that, I try to promote more strength training, cardiorespiratory endurance with my clients, but still, ultimately, we're trying to benefit their health and wellness needs. And
Sure.
what I think would be very beneficial, especially for what y'all are doing, is if you were to hit the corporate worlds, especially here in Atlanta, of course, with a lot of different companies that have their corporate offices here and that are fairly new to Atlanta, but as well as being very established. You got the big giants like Delta, Coke, and AT&T, Home Depot, and all of them. But then you've got the newer ones like Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, and more coming in. And I think with that opportunity, because Atlanta is becoming very tech savvy, a lot of computer software companies, but let's face it, a lot of the companies with these corporate employees, they complain about stress and back pain, and they've got long meetings. So just thinking it from my point of view, and again, I think you and me and Stacy could talk more. And I've got someone who I think would be great to add to your team. She's a great lady, and I think that, yeah, that's the one I was just talking about earlier that I was referring to. She'd be really good to introduce to y'all because I think she'd be a great asset for you. But I think if you were to hit the corporate companies and offer corporate wellness packages or group packages and sessions, and then on top of that, I think that if y'all are able to get in and do the, in addition to that, any kind of, again, just group settings and being able to do this, like places like the Family Life Center in Buckhead, or just big commercial gyms like that, I think that's a great way to go because, like you said, this is something that ultimately everybody's going to benefit from. So I'm excited for y'all. I mean, that's really good. That's
Thank you.
excellent. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just brilliant the way you were. Again, thinking about it, Stacy had a really good problem in the fact that she was too busy and too overbooked, and it was actually perfect that you came in and were able to, very synergistically help each other there and mutually beneficial, and ultimately benefits everyone that y'all are working with. So let me ask you this, Hannah. In terms of the greater Atlanta area, Metro Atlanta, where do you and Stacy service and provide, if anybody's listening out there, in terms of how you can get to them or meet up with them? Where are we talking about, as far as logistics go?
So home for me is a little town, Bethlehem, Georgia, out towards Athens, East
Mm-hmm.
Metro area. But when I come out to Atlanta, I come usually to Stacy's home. She's in the Sandy Springs area. So,
Yeah.
but she goes all over, Midtown area, downtown, Metro. I mean, she's kind of all over.
Mm-hmm.
She's got clients all over. So it's really more of wherever the word is spread, we come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Probably wouldn't go quite as far as like the Marietta, the west side of of town, but Atlanta area is a pretty good middle of the road. But yeah, Sandy Springs is where she is, and then I'm on the east side mostly. So kind of
Yeah.
that whole area.
Oh yeah, certainly. And again, I think Atlanta's just growing anyway because every time you're out there in traffic, you know that it's getting busier and more people are moving here, and we've got the potential of just growing. I mean, this metro area is just exponentially increasing a lot. So your pool of being able to gain more clientele is definitely there. And on the flip side of it, as I mentioned, I think there's two ladies that I could think of that I think that you and Stacy should meet that would be great to talk about working with. And one of them lives in Bethlehem. I couldn't remember if I'd mentioned that because you just triggered my memory.
Wow.
Deidre Blakely, she lives in Bethlehem, and she's awesome. She teaches yoga. I think that there's some potential there to work together with her as well. But on the so as far as team goes and picking up some people, for you and Stacy to come out and guest speak at Georgia State University, I think that's a great opportunity to offer internships because as far as the classes that I have, and by the way, yeah, that's going to be great to have you and Stacy come out and do the guest lecturing. You'll be able to pull from a lot of different exercise science majors who don't know what they want to do. Every time that I'm teaching a course, I ask all my students. I've got about 30, 35 students each class. Okay. And I always ask, I go around the room, I'm like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to do when you finish graduating? Mm-hmm. And I would say a great majority of them, I don't know. I have no idea. And again, they'll ask me, like, right. what is there to do? And this is an answer right here. This is a huge, again, to reiterate, goldmine opportunity. So hopefully this could be beneficial for y'all, too, to see if you need an intern or maybe a couple interns to work with y'all and help with some of the groundwork and just going from there. Because I think you could really have a good team that you could build from that point on. I think there's something there, definitely.
I agree, absolutely. That was one of the biggest things that I was hoping to be able to just spread the word about the Stretch to Win Institute because when I met Stacy, I just thought I've got to let students know about this. If they don't have the ability to go to grad school immediately, or they have things like me where they start a family, it's something that it's not as time consuming and it's not as expensive as grad school and immediately after graduating, and it's something you can go do and immediately start building, whether it's a business or just having some clients here and there. But it's absolutely a skill that is a commodity. It's very valuable and very helpful to people, and you can absolutely make an incredible career out of it. Obviously, Stacy is the role model for that. She's been doing it 10 years and has a plethora of clients. So she's your example for just being able to see how successful you can be as a stretch therapist.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get the word out to students for sure that this is an option for sure.
Yeah. And then again, hopefully, my hope is that maybe you can find a couple of really good interns, and then they could work with y'all and build on that because that would be terrific.
Love that.
Oh yeah, I think that would be great. And can we talk about a little bit, Hannah, the Stretch to Win Institute? Because again, this is the first time I've heard of the school. This is all new to me too, and just talk about the school itself and how the program works and where they're based out of and everything.
Absolutely. So the Stretch to Win Institute, the creator of fascial stretch therapy is Anne Frederick. And her husband is Chris Frederick. He's a physical therapist, and I'm not exactly sure of her background. I know she was a dancer. She did a lot of sports medicine. And they are really just forerunners in the research and science behind fascia. And they have written a book called Stretch to Win. It is kind of the Bible of stretching to me. It just breaks down the fascial system anatomically, physiologically. It gives you self-stretch pictures and ways to just completely develop your own program to assess yourself. It's more geared towards an athlete's regimen, but it definitely gives you the history, the research, the science behind fascia and what the importance of the FST method is. And then they've also written the Fascial Stretch Therapy book. But the Stretch to Win Institute itself is the first campus was Tempe, Arizona. They now have a beautiful new facility. I want to say that's maybe in Chandler, which is right down the street from Tempe, Arizona, but all in the Phoenix area. But yeah, the workshops are a week long. Level 1 was a week long. It's very intense. It's very hands-on. You do just the little bit of reading and online work before you go. I took about 4 months to get all that done before. I'll tell you what, it was incredible, like how much I already knew and had already absorbed before even going out there. So, you get familiar, you go out there, do your course, you become a family right away. The people that come are all there because they're passionate about what they do and they want to add this service to whatever it is that they do. And so just great people that you meet. It's a fun week. Instructors are incredibly passionate about what they do. Want to be there to help you, and everything. Will answer every question you have. They don't make it scary or hard or difficult to get through. They make it a great, fun week. And come the end, when you do your practical, it's no sweat off your back. It's, everybody graduates, everybody gets their their certification, and it's just an incredible experience. And so they have level 2 and level 3. And last I heard, they were working on a master course. So you have level 1, level 2, and then level 3 breaks off into either fitness or medical tracks. So if you're a licensed physical therapist, if you're a licensed massage therapist, anyone in the more medical side can do that medical track, but personal trainers and say me with my exercise science degree, that would be more the fitness track. And then they're working on that master class. So I don't know when that will be finished, but I guess you have to go through every level to get to that master class. But it's an incredible place to be. I've learned more there than I have in a very long time. It's been great for continuing education, and that's really, I would say, what it is for therapists and chiropractors and massage therapists. It's continuing education. It does count towards CEUs, but I just think it's a whole new tool you get to add to your tool belt being a therapist, or whether you're a manual therapist or whether whatever you do, whether you're a trainer or yoga teacher, whatever it is, it's just another tool you have to add. But to me, like they say, you're able to make this a standalone therapy or a service. So that's what I do with it. But anyway, it's just an incredible experience, a wonderful family of instructors and directors. And I would recommend anybody heading out there going to learn this and experiencing Stretch to Win, because it's really an incredible experience.
No, that's great. That's terrific. I'm going to check into it more and look at the book too. Again, I think you did a wonderful job explaining it, and also I can't say enough. I'm very excited for both you and Stacy and this world, this phenomenon of stretch therapy in Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, that's terrific. I'm really excited, and even thinking about myself too, like not only receiving it, but also looking into it maybe to possibly get certified in it as well, and
yeah,
because I'm all about the continuing education as well. I can't say enough that every client that I run into, including myself, let's face it, we need more flexibility and just dedicate more time to the stretching. So I commend you for that, Hannah. And this has been wonderful. This half hour has flown by so quickly. Before we let you go, I just want to say I'm really looking forward to meeting you, both you and Stacy, in person at Georgia State for the guest lecturing. And also, before we let you go, if you could please, Hannah, anybody out there who's watching, they want to contact you directly and get more information, or maybe book an appointment or what have you, if they want to learn more about the Institute or anything else, what are the best ways for them to get in touch with you and follow you on social media, please?
Sure. So on social media, you can find me, Hannah O'Leary, Stretch Therapist, on Facebook. And on Instagram, I am StretchGalATL. So that's my handle. I'm kind of new to getting my business going on social media, so that's all I've got right now. But you can also email me at hmoleary, that's hmoleary412 @hotmail.com, and we can connect, book an appointment, and just kind of talk about what your needs are and what your goals are for therapy and go from there.
Perfect. Very well said, Hannah. That's excellent. Well, again, I enjoyed learning more, and thank you for educating me and everyone else out there about stretch therapy. And not only am I, again, looking forward to meeting you all face to face, but looking forward to doing another one of these video Skype podcasts with you. This was a lot of fun. So thank you. I appreciate your time, Hannah, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too, Taryn. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure, Hannah. And here comes Hannah O'Leary's contact information one more time, everybody.